hold on to your edges because what Blu Cantrell just revealed is about to send shockwaves through the entire industry. For years, the whispers have been there about her weird relationship with Jay-Z, but now Blu is spilling everything, and it's wilder than anybody could have imagined. In this explosive tell-all, Blu claims that Jay-Z allegedly got her pregnant during a top-secret industry freak-off. But here's where the tea turns boiling hot. Blu claims that Queen Bey herself stepped in and forced her to terminate the pregnancy. Was it jealousy, damage control, or a desperate attempt to protect the Carter empire before it ever even fully formed? Well, Blu's story is raw, messy, and downright chilling, and she is about to change everything we thought we knew about the Carters and their shady activities in the industry. Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the twisted triangle between Blu Cantrell, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé, and it's way messier than any of us were ready for. Okay, so if you've been following Diddy and Jay-Z's bromance, then you know that these two are thicker than thieves. Honestly, some gave it partners in crime more than a normal friendship, and surprise, surprise, when Diddy landed in legal trouble, Jay-Z immediately switched up on Diddy. It was like he didn't even know who that was. At first, we thought that Jay-Z distanced himself because he was disgusted at the things that Diddy was accused of doing, but that quickly changed when the streets started speculating that Jay-Z was just desperately trying to prevent his own alleged atrocities from coming to light. He was successful for a long time, and he even managed to beat a civil lawsuit that was brought against him by lawyer Tony Busby, so he probably thought that he was home free, and he was until now. See, singer Blu Cantrell just came out to expose not Jay-Z, but also his wife Beyoncé. According to Blu, she and Jay-Z had a little something going on back in the day, and they allegedly went to Freakoffs together. But what exactly and how did they manage to get together in the first place? Well, to explain that, we need to go right back to the start. So let's rewind a little bit back to the 1990s. Blu Cantrell and Jay-Z had a pretty close bond, close enough that people started to speculate whether something romantic might have been going on behind the scenes. And at that point, Blu was making her mark in the background, singing back up for big names like Diddy. But it didn't take long for the suits in the industry to catch on to her talent. They saw her star potential written all over her. That's when L.A. Reid stepped in and signed her to Arista Records, convinced she was on the verge of blowing up. But by 2001, Blu Cantrell had dropped her first album, So Blue, and it was a hit. It climbed to number 8 on the Billboard 200, scored a few top 10 singles, and even got her 2 Grammy nominations. The album went gold in just 2 weeks. She was on fire, and people really thought she was about to take over. But this is where things get interesting. While Blu and Jay-Z were getting close, Jay was also trying to win over Beyoncé. So why was he still hanging around Blu? At the time, the talk was that Jay was keeping his options open, just in case things didn't work out with B. He had already taken a loss when things fell through with Aaliyah, so he wasn't going to try to go all in and end up getting disappointed again. Messy, right? But in 2003, Blu released her second album right around the same time Beyoncé dropped her solo debut, Dangerously in Love. And when the two artists put out big projects at the same time, you already know the comparisons start to fly. And before long, people were painting it was something kind of a rivalry between them. And on top of all that, both of them were tied to Jay-Z in different ways, which just made things even messier. What started as music talk quickly turned into personal drama. Blu kept saying there was nothing romantic going on between her and Jay, and they were just friends who worked together. But most people weren't buying it. It looked a lot like she was trying to steer clear of the whole love triangle mess, especially with Beyoncé in the picture. And the rumors really took off after Blu did an interview with Wendy Williams. And if you know anything about Miss Wendy Williams, then you know she never holds her tongue. She was bold, messy, and always asked the questions that anyone was too scared to say out loud, which is exactly why people tuned in. So of course, Wendy went straight for it and asked Blu point blank if she had ever kissed Jay-Z or had anything romantic going on with him. And it was perfect opportunity for Blu to shut everything down. But instead of giving a clear answer, she laughed and danced around the question, and just like that, the rumors exploded even more. So instead of calming that chatter, she had folks talking louder.
Have you ever kissed Jay-Z romantically?
No. No, I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
Oh, she's touching him off the neck! Look! You see?
Why do people not want to let the Jay-Z Blu Cantrell thing go?
Because, honey, that was a fabulous little high point in your
Well,
career.
what about Beyonce and Jay-Z? That's fabulous.
Honestly, Blu could have handled this question so many better ways, but laughing it off and dodging it was probably the worst move. Instead of clearing things up, she just made the rumors louder. It didn't stop there because Wendy threw out the idea that maybe Jay-Z picked Beyonce because she was younger. Instead of brushing that question off, Blu jumped right in and said it wasn't about age at all. She claimed that Jay-Z went after Beyonce because she was more naive and easier to manipulate. According to Blu, that's exactly the kind of woman he was looking for.
I said on the radio that I didn't think it would last though.
What, me and him?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're above 25.
Why, he needs somebody younger than that?
At the end of the day, yeah.
Why did you say that?
Because I think at the end of the day, a younger, less savvy to the ways of the world broad.
Somebody a little bit more naive.
Well, at the time, a lot of us thought that Blu was being unnecessarily shady towards Beyonce, but looking back at what she shared about the crazy situation she's been caught up in, it sounds like she was really talking about herself because she was also pretty naive back then. So naive, in fact, that people say that she was being taken advantage of without even realizing it until it was too late. That said, even if she wasn't trying to throw shade, things were even definitely messier between her and Beyonce. The two women pretty much couldn't stand each other, and over the next few years, Blu didn't hold back, and she even went as far as accusing Beyonce of straight up stealing her visuals and pretending they were hers. The drama just kept escalating. For example, when Beyonce and Jay-Z dropped the music video for Bonnie and Clyde, Blu was quick to claim that they had copied her video for Round Up, and it didn't stop there. When Beyonce released Baby Boy You Stay On My Mind featuring Sean Paul, Blu came out swinging again, accusing B of copying her since she had dropped her own song Breathe with Sean Paul before Beyonce's hit. And then there's the juicy speculation that Beyonce was throwing some subtle shade at Blu in her song Signs. In the track, B sings, I wish you was a Virgo, the same sign as me, yeah, and know how to show me love, cause I've been hurt by a Pisces, girl. Well, here's the thing, and where it gets even juicier. So Jay-Z is a Sagittarius, Beyonce is a Virgo, and Blu Cantrell, well, she's the Pisces. Naturally, fans started connecting dots and reading into the whole zodiac thing and believing Beyonce was low-key admitting that Jay-Z had cheated on her with Blu. So you know how the internet loves to spice things up with astrology and stuff, and suddenly it all made sense to some people. But if you thought the situation couldn't get even more tangled or weird, well, you're in for a surprise. In an interview with The Guardian, Blu was asked directly about Beyonce, and her response, well, let's just say it didn't calm things down. It actually blew the whole drama wide open and took it to a whole new level. She said, I'm an adult. She's younger, and if she's doing what you're saying, then she's being a little immature. Maybe she's trying to do it to get press, but I want to make her understand. If she goes there with me, it's the wrong move. She needs to understand what she's doing and what she's getting into. Blu also dragged Jay-Z into it, saying if she is being negative, she doesn't need to be because she's a beautiful girl. But if you have issues with your man, address it with the guy. Don't take it out on the girl. It's never the way to go. But that's just where the interview was pretty much the last straw because it felt like everything just came crashing down for Blu Cantrell after that. Despite how talented she was and how well her first two albums did, she basically vanished from the music scene. No more albums, no singles, nothing. It was surprising and honestly a little suspicious. Like maybe it was all a part of something bigger behind the scenes, and then around late 2013, Blu popped back up saying she was working on a third album and had left her label calling herself a free agent. But that project never came out either. Things took an even darker turn in 2014 when she was hospitalized after what was reported as a mental breakdown. It was a really sad situation and left a lot of people wondering what exactly happened behind the scenes. She was found on the streets of Santa Monica in California by 2 a.m., screaming about how someone had tried to unalive her with some sort of poisonous gas, and she was eventually taken to the hospital for an evaluation. Even though people in the industry tried to wave off Blu's situation as just another mental breakdown and some even hinted drugs might have been involved, fans weren't having it. They couldn't ignore how similar her story was to what happened to actor Martin Lawrence, and was also went through a mysterious breakdown that left everybody confused and full of questions. Fans started saying this wasn't just a coincidence but something way deeper and more unsettling was going on behind the scenes. Blu's story wasn't the first time a celebrity got slapped with a crazy label when things started looking suspicious, and that's when Jaguar Wright stepped in and threw her 2 cents in the mix. If you know Jaguar Wright, you know she's never shy about spilling the tea and keeping it 100. No sugarcoating, no holding back. And when Jaguar Wright talks, you might want to listen because she's going to drop some serious bombs.
Blu, The first Blu. Not they daughter Blu Cantrell. You were singing, fool. And you made a choice to work with someone, and you probably didn't realize how nefarious he was when you got involved with him. I didn't. Blu, it's time to talk. It's time for you to sing again. Because I know you still got the chops. You got the gift. Just like me. Jay-Z worked very hard to erase you and me. Just like he did Elle. Just like he did his relationship with R. Kelly. Just like he did his relationship with Aaliyah. Blu, it's time to talk.
Well, it looks like Jaguar's words really hit home for Blu Cantrell, because now she's finally ready to tell her side of the story. Well, she's opening up about how someone powerful allegedly got her dropped from her label as a way to get back at her. And Blu wants everyone to know that her disappearance from the spotlight wasn't something she chose because it was a setup behind the scenes. She said, "I would have got my lawyer because that lawyer ended up representing them, which was a conflict of interest. So they were all working together to basically take what was mine. Nobody really knows the whole truth about me and them, but I was really taken advantage of." So buckle up, because this part gets even more intense. According to an insider close to Blu, she's now opening up about some seriously shocking claims. Blu says that back in 2014, Beyoncé allegedly tried to harm her. Blu claims that Beyoncé found out not only that she and Jay-Z were involved, but that Jay-Z had actually gotten Blu pregnant at one of Diddy's Freakoffs. And that revelation pushed Beyoncé to take a drastic and extreme measure to allegedly keep her quiet and make sure this secret never got out. Y'all, it was a whole lot to process, especially considering the high-profile nature of everybody involved, and this adds a whole new layer of drama and darkness to what already seemed like a very messy situation. But y'all, it got worse. According to Blu, when the poisoning didn't work, Beyoncé then allegedly forced her to get rid of the pregnancy. We're not just talking about a casual suggestion, because according to Blu, it came with a lot of pressure and threats. Beyoncé seems determined to only have Carter kids, and she'll stop at nothing to make sure that happens. And as crazy as it sounds, Blu is not the only woman who has her career ruined by Beyoncé, allegedly because of Jay-Z. Because the same thing happened to Tierra Marie, allegedly. A juicy blind item that made the rounds a few months ago had the streets in a full-on frenzy, and it was all about Queen Bey allegedly pulling strings behind the scenes. According to the T, Beyoncé was the reason that Tierra Marie's music career came to a screeching halt. At the time, Tierra was young, fresh, and on the scene and had a lot of buzz around her, but apparently she also had a little situationship brewing with Jay-Z, despite being way younger than him. And once Beyoncé allegedly caught wind of what was going on, she wasn't having it. The rumor claims that she shut the whole thing down with the quickness, but she didn't stop there. Allegedly, Beyoncé made some serious moves to make sure Tierra's career never took off the way it was supposed to. Word in the streets is that she wanted to make an example out of her, letting it be known that getting too close to her man would come with consequences. And just like that, Tierra went from being the next big thing to barely being mentioned in the industry.
And he signed her to a deal. By the time all of the ink was dry, she was just shy of being legal. But that didn't stop the mogul. He liked to sample the new talent. He was sampling her on a fairly regular basis, but he was also involved with the current A+ list singer who was in his face every day. And this could allegedly be Beyoncé. The thing is, though, that corn star in charge of her career was feuding with the mogul and told the mogul he would not be allowed to hook up with the singer again. I assume he thought the mogul would think she was something special. Apparently not as special as the current A+ lister, because the new signee was dropped and the word was put out on the street. No record deals for her from any label. When someone ignored the edict, they were paid a visit. If the visits were ignored, then other steps were taken. This was a total lockdown of a career that lasted almost a decade.
Oh, well, let's not even get into the story of Jay-Z's other side piece, Kathy White. Kathy was reportedly pregnant with Jay-Z's child, just like Blu allegedly was. And the day before she was about to go public with the affair and the baby, she suddenly passed away. Kind of reminds us of how Blu's situation was, doesn't it? There were reports that B was allegedly the one who unalived Kathy, not Jay-Z, and everybody has assumed that for years. Y'all, it kind of seems like Blu was lucky to get out of alive. But anyways, I got to know what y'all feel about this. Do y'all think this is true? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and then check out this next video.